And then, when you come to sometimes the farm and our eggs are different colors, brown and light brown and dark brown, and shoot, every once in a while you might even have a green one, right? And so when you have these type of things, we have to educate our customers on why. Now, I have to tell you this. It's funny. A couple years ago when we started doing this, I said, why in the world, when you go to the grocery store, generally all they sell you is white or white eggs? I don't get it. Like most chickens, guess what? Here's a dirty little secret. Most chickens don't lay white eggs. There's only like about a couple breeds that lay white eggs. So why is that? And then they came and at first like, oh, maybe it's just racist. It's not. It actually what it is that they put their eggs through a system to make sure that there's no fertilization or nothing funky going on inside. And when they shine the light through the egg, the lighter the shell makes it easier to be able to see through it. So it's called candling your egg. And so that's the reason why they do that, is because white, you're able to, when you shine that light through it, when it goes through millions and millions and millions of eggs and they're sorting and making sure that they're all good for quality control, when you have that type of thing, and when you have, what I'm trying to say, when you have them candled and you have a white color egg, it's easy for them to see that. So that's the reason why.
Wow, that's interesting. I think a lot of people too are conditioned into thinking like white eggs are inherently better than the brown ones too. Like I think that people get conditioned into thinking that just by going to the grocery store.
Yeah. Not only that, I remember growing up, people would say, oh, white eggs are for eating and brown eggs are for baking. I remember hearing that. And now that, I've been doing this for a while, there's literally no difference. There's no taste difference, nothing at all with them. It's merely the color.
Okay. So, all right. So you started with the egg or with the chickens and the eggs, and then it goes from 30 to 90 plus. That was right before the pandemic hit. So how did the pandemic take things off for you all here locally? I know that was actually when I first got introduced to your farm. It was an outside event with a local, it was a black farmer. I think it was a black farmers market. They had a local event, farm to table dinner.
It was.
And that was the first time I got introduced to the whole theme, and you guys had a great story and everything was delicious. So how did the pandemic really help, help things take off for you guys?
Well, I think what happened is, with the grocery stores really being taxed, people were looking, and also they wanted to be outside. And so your farmers market exploded. People wanted to find local places where they could purchase food because the food supply chain had like a crack. It was a peculiar situation. And I think for the first time in a long time, Americans started looking at the food supply system and say, ooh, this is a little fragile. And it's very fragile. It takes one little cyber attack and Food Lion is not getting any food. Their trucks are not running. Even with a little ice storm, we could completely knock them out. And so people ran to farms, and we were here. And it's interesting that the 90 chickens that we purchased, we sold them and doubled our money within probably about 3 months, all 90 of them, because people were just coming to the farm. They wanted to start their own backyard flock so they could have a reliable, sustainable source of protein. And so that's what happened.
Wow. At what point, so I heard you say you had so how did, at what point did the vision go, you know what, we could actually go into full out livestock. We can do the chickens, the pigs, we can do beef. Where did it become full, we got everything?
I think it was in 2020 because not only we were selling the live chickens, but people were purchasing chickens that we processed. We were taking pigs to the butcher. So we had pork. We worked with companion farmers to be able to produce a really high quality beef. And so we're able to sell that. So we had beef, we had chicken, we had pork, we had all these different things. And I think really what set it off, that solidified in our hearts that we can make this into a full-time business that would support the family, is again, my wife again. I'll never forget, it was the beginning of June, and she came home, and I remember she came home through the front door, which we normally always come to the side. She came home through the front door, she says, Immanuel, you're not going to believe this. I'm like, what? She says, Durham Parks and Recreation have closed all of their camps, all of their activities, everything for the summer. And I'm like, that is crazy.
Right.
And she said, yeah. She says, you know what we should do? I'm like, what? She says, we should open up our own summer camp. And I'm like, what? That is
Yeah.
the most brilliant thing I've
Genius.
ever heard.
Genius.
Because I mean, we
Yeah.
have the animals, people collecting the eggs, we have the garden, we have the herbs, people have it, or so spending time with the animals, the little baby bunnies, we have the dogs, we had the puppies at that point, we had the chickens, we had meat chicken, we
Wow.
had the garden, we had a pool. Completely renovated the pool, so we had that. Some think we had, everything from scavenger hunts in the woods to kickball. We could just do everything. And we
Yeah.
said, yeah. And so me again, the one who does the marketing and the sales, I opened up my laptop and I created a website in about 3 days. And with the registration portal, advertised it, sent it out to all of our existing customer base through our newsletter, pushed it out on social media, and said, I don't know if parents are going to have their kids come to a summer camp because we're in the middle of COVID. It's all social distancing and all that kind of stuff. And my wife was just like, I'm an expert at COVID and making sure that people are safe. This is what I did. I'm like, yeah, you're actually right. You are. We put on there. She's RN BSN and specialized in that and making sure kids are safe. And we did all of our temperature checks in the morning. It was an entire outdoor camp. And if you think about it, our children were trapped almost like prisoners in their homes since March.
Right.
Schools closed in March, April, May, June. Here we go. And so for 3 months, the kids were home. They weren't playing with friends. They weren't socializing. They didn't have interactions, and they really needed it. And we just felt that the deterioration of the mental capacity of our children was really going to play a very detrimental effect. And so the camp was a way of just actually be able to bring socialization back to the forefront, but doing it in a safe way. And so we did it our first year. I can't remember how many kids we had. I think maybe like about 45 kids came the first year, and they absolutely loved it. And we had no issues with COVID, and parents were just grateful that they could send their kids somewhere. The kids got a nice little tan. They got to get in the water. They got to learn about animals. They got to taste vegetables. They got the whole chicks and bunnies and all that stuff.
Right,
and it was great. So 2023, believe it or not, we are entering our 4th year of Jireh Family Farm Summer Camp. And so we're really excited about that. Registration's already open. We got people registering for it. And now it has become a portion of what we do as a farm.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, I could imagine the word is spreading. You are a quote unquote small business. Is there a cap on what you can take in the summer? I know, if people see this, they want to make a move sooner than later, but is there a cap where you're going to have to start telling people, I'm sorry, but we're at capacity?
Yeah, so we normally do 15 kids per session, and we will do 6 sessions this summer. All 6 are slightly different. They're themed. So some of them are water week. One of them is field day. One of them is all about chickens. One week is all about goats. So we're focusing on different things. We even have one for little older kids, I think up to 14, 15 years old. But yeah, we cap it at 15, and that's just to make sure that our ratios stay where we want them and kids get the attention that they need.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great to hear. And so, so it's nice also to see, like, it starts as a farm, but then you also, from a business perspective, find other ways to monetize the farm and the brand and what you can do in the community, and also provide a great service for the community at the same time. Like the idea of just being very community driven while also feeding into the community with a profit driven model. Like it can all work. Like that's a good version, I think, of what we call capitalism versus.
That's what I call it.
Yeah, and it's a shame, in my opinion, that I think you point out how America is unique in that with the eggs.